So, welcome back, everybody, to the news. The National Esports Weekly Spotlight. Last week, we went over the EWC results for Call of Duty, for League of Legends, we prepped ourselves for chess this week and for R6 this week. We went over the first couple of weeks of the LCS, Split 3. And last week we talked about Supernova 2026, Super Smash Bros. Tournament. This week we've got CEO 2026, which is our first Super Major without Zane Nagami, the second rated Super Smash Bros. Player in the world at the moment, who's taking a 3-month break. I'll get to that in just a second, Dave. We've got the chess results from EWC. We've got the R6 results from EWC. We've got an upset to talk about for this week's LCS third split, summer split, whatever they're calling it now. But our big topic of discussion today is going to be in Rostermania for Call of Duty. Now that we are at the end of our competitive season for Call of Duty, we are getting to rumors of teams breaking up and swaps being made. There are a couple of teams that have decided for sure that they need something to happen in replacing members that I don't think need to get replaced, that I do not think are the problem, but I don't get paid to make those decisions. Diz, what do you want to crack into first?
I think we should start off with the overall standings for the EWC club competition or club cup or whatever it's called.
Okay. This without disrupting anything.
Actually, it is the club championship. So, the EWC club championship is kind of what every esport is competing for combined for their org. Has a $30 million prize pool.
Oh God, that's a big number.
With 25 tournaments all together. Then the games are Apex, Chess, Dota 2, Fortnite, League, Overwatch, Rainbow Six, Teamfight Tactics, Val, BO7, CS2, FC26, Free Fire, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang MSC, whatever that is, PUBG Mobile, Rocket League, Tekken 8, Warzone, Crossfire, Fatal Fury, Honor of Kings, and Arena of Valor, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, N.E.W.S, PUBG Battlegrounds, Street Fighter 6, and Trackmania. Holy hell.
It's a long list.
And currently the standings are Falcons are in the lead with 3 medals won. They've won... Oh, what did they win? Wait, hold on, let me try and find out what they won.
Falcons...
They won Rocket. They won Rocket League.
They won Street Fighter.
Street Fighter and Rocket League.
And
those
then...
are the 2 they won. And they got 3rd in chess.
Shout out to Hikaru Nakamura. Yeah.
And then second is AGAL, which... Where are they located out of? They have 5 medals won, which is crazy. They're in second. Because they have a first, 2 seconds, and a third. And Dennis Lazovic got second against Magnus Carlsen in chess. We'll get into that later. PUBG Mobile, they got 3rd.
All Gamers Global, Anyone Legends.
Thank you. And then Navi's in 3rd.
AGAL, I'm trying to figure out where they're out of.
Navi won.
They're tie.
They're tie, that makes sense. It looks like Navi got 3rd in PUBG with 3 points. Or no, they got 9th. What am I saying? They got 3rd in... What did they fucking... Never mind. I'm done looking at that. I don't care about 3rd. But yeah, so far, those are the top 3 teams. And we still have... What events going on?
We still have CS2, which is in its 5th day, but the conclusion is on the 23rd. We've got Crossfire, Mercenary Forces, which starts tomorrow. It runs tomorrow,
which
through
is
the
like
22nd.
a dumbed down version of CS2, legitimately.
we've got Trackmania that runs the 19th through the 22nd, and then Fortnite Reload Championship runs the 19th through the 22nd.
Yep.
Is that what they're calling just Fortnite esports in general
That's
now?
their league. Yeah, that's their
Okay.
league.
I didn't know if that was another like mobile port or if that was the actual
Nope.
main Fortnite
There
game.
is no mobile port for Fortnite. The main Fortnite game can just be played on mobile.
Got it.
So yeah,
this
but
week
that's the overall standings for the EWC Club Championship. First place gets 7 million, second place 5 million, third place 4.
Yeah. This week we had, I think the biggest talking point is chess. We can touch on R6 a little bit. Actually, the R6 prize pool was bigger than the chess prize pool. Chess,
Yeah.
to absolutely no one's surprise, as the greatest chess player that has ever lived, Magnus Carlsen took home first place with 1,000 points. I thought that the favorite for second was Hikaru Nakamura, who is probably the best blitz player we've ever had. He actually ended up third with 500 points. So he had half of Magnus's points and got third place.
Yep.
That said, that is 145,000 to third, 190,000 to second, and 250 grand to first. So no one's really walking away disappointed.
Yeah, especially all of that money's going just to them.
Yeah.
Well, and New York, but
we are adding another notch to the million other notches on Magnus Carlsen's belt. As the greatest player to ever touch a 700-year-old board game.
I will say it is crazy to me that a 700-year-old board game is at EWC, Esports World Cup.
Hey man, I ask if we should even cover chess because is chess an esport? But if it's at EWC, then it's worth going here.
Yeah,
and they've got
I feel like
if they've got esports sponsorships, Team Liquid, Magnus Carlsen,
And most of the time when you're playing chess now, you're playing online.
Yeah. Thanks. Shout outs to chess.com. Siege, your boys.
I was gonna go over that.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, Siege is your game anyway. I don't really.
It's Kai's game too. He played that for a while. But FaZe Clan, FaZe Esports won R6 EWC coming away with a total of 750 grand, and the MVP was, I think it's Kyber. I want to say it's Kyber. Full standings are FaZe Clan in first, Furia in second, and DZ in third. 200,000 for DZ and 350 for Furia, with a big ass jump to 750 for FaZe. Not that surprising, to be honest. Furia and FaZe are like the top two teams. I mean, Vita King, KD, I recognize a lot of names on FaZe, which for me not being in the Siege scene for a while, that's crazy. But yeah, that's pretty much all there was for Siege. I mean, I can't think of any real big surprises, realistically.
Speaking of surprises, using that as our transition. For a long time, North American League of Legends has been considered to be a two-team region, where you have two standout teams, and then the rest of the region is kind of picking up pieces and trying to do what they can. For most of the time that I was watching, those two teams were either TSM and Cloud9, or it was TSM and CLG. Unfortunately, both TSM and CLG are no longer in the league, and so the last couple of years, it has been Team Liquid and Lyons Esports kind of carrying North American League of Legends, and even then, on the international stage, they're not doing very well. Last week, they were both Team Lion and Team Liquid were full standout 3-0s to lead the region, but there was a crazy upset this week where Lyons Esports went down to the, at the time, 1-2 Sentinels team to make a three-way tie for second in the region, being Lyons Esports, Cloud9, and Shopify Rebellion. Now, like I said last week, and I will continue to say, Cloud9 is my dark horse, and they always have been. And they made a couple of big roster moves that went in this week, bringing on Loki in mid, and they changed their AD carry. Who is on that team now? It is I should know this. Their current roster, they brought on. I'm not going to be able to find it, but they made two very important roster changes, and I think we're seeing the fruits of those roster changes now that Loki and the other guy whose name I should know but I don't are getting comfortable on that team. We're going into our first of two super weeks next week, where you have a half of the teams are playing two matches instead of one for the weekend. But I don't think any of the big contenders, the big powerhouse teams, actually are on Super Week next week. It's going to be the week after where a lot of the big guns are playing multiple matches. I know Liquid and Lion both do 2 games for the weekend in week 6. And that will be the end of it to see who qualifies for Worlds. I don't know what the dates are for Worlds. I can probably find that. Worlds. It'll probably tell me.
About to look. LCS Worlds.
October and November. So we are right on the door to Worlds, and we only get to send 2 teams. So right now, Team Liquid, like I said, 4-0 on the split, widely considered to be the strongest team in the region. They're kind of a lock-in, but it is now a race for that second place slot between Lion, Cloud9, and Shopify, and Cloud9 looked really strong against FlyQuest. Now, FlyQuest is a 1-3 team, but fundamentals and team play and individual play, I think that you can still start to get an idea of how a team is playing.
Yeah, you have to look at it of, was it a we beat them because they are bad, or we beat them because we're good at our fundamentals?
Yeah, and I did watch at least that match, because if I had to pick a favorite team in the LCS, not only do I think that Cloud9's a dark horse, but they're also the only legacy team left, really. So I have to go with the boys that have been there the longest. Right. And they looked good. They did.
Yeah.
With CoD being over, I think we'll put a little bit more focus on League of Legends for the next couple of weeks. So you have got to get yourself versed.
Watching me tip.
Yeah, at least enough that you can talk about it.
Yeah.
Because there might be a little bit of CoD news next week, but not going to be nearly as much as this week.
Yeah, no. This week it was a lot of stuff that kind of got shut down yesterday, and it's kind of upsetting. But if you want to start going over that, we can.
One more thing is Smash. So, like I kind of said in the intro, Zane, our current active GOAT and current number 2 player in the world, has announced he's taking his longest break from Melee since he started playing. Get this. Before this event, thank you, Luce. Or not before this event, before this break, the longest time in the almost 10 years that he's been playing the game that he has taken was 8 days.
Damn. 8 days? That's
8 days. He is taking a 3-month break. He missed CEO this week. He's missing, I think it's Riptide is the next big event that's coming up. And I think it's actually, if I remember, it's the event that's in Michigan, so it's close to us. But he's only going to be missing 2 events, but that will definitely hand Cody Schwab over solidly first for the year. I don't think that with him missing these 2 events, he has any chance of clawing that back. Speaking of Cody Schwab, CEO was this weekend, and it is one of the kind of, I use this word a lot, but one of like the legacy events for Super Smash Brothers. It was one of the original.
You need a new word.
Yeah, well, when I say that, what I mean is it was one of the original big tournaments. It's one of the only tournaments that are still left. You know, there was, we were at EVO. We're not at EVO anymore. I think we're still at Apex. We're still at Genesis, and then CEO is probably the next long-standing tournament that we have. We had a Cody Schwab Hungrybox Grand Final, which makes sense because with Zane gone, they're pretty head and shoulders above the rest of the field at our second and third. Cody Schwab took home the dub. He's the best player in the world right now. That doesn't surprise anybody. It's just good to see one of the 5 gods of Melee that's still competing at the point that he's
Up
making
there.
grand finals in.
Yeah.
He's the only one left.
I was gonna
But
say Hungrybox. You said that name and I recognized it.
yeah, he's the only one of the 5 gods of melee left. Everybody else has fallen. I keep kind of an eye on Mango's YouTube channel. And he did say he thinks he's going to make a push to get ranked next year. I don't know how much of his controversy needs to get brought up, as old as it is, on this. Now that we're here, 2026.
Yeah.
Last year, he did some bad stuff at a party that Ludwig hosted, Beerio Kart. He got too drunk. He did some inappropriate stuff. He got banned from the community for a year on the requirement for him to come back being that he was sober. He did a year sober. He is, as far as I know, still sober. So he has checked off the requirements of coming back, but he has been away from the game for a year, and so it is now up to him on if he wants to come back and how hard he wants to try. Last I heard was he's considering playing next year. I hope so, because he is my entire motivation for watching Super Smash Brothers. I don't watch nearly the amount of tournaments when Mango's not there, but...
What happened? Oh, no.
What happened what? But with that, we will move into Rostermania for Call of Duty. I guess now being on the subject of COD, Kai, I know you were in the stream for last week when we were going over some of the EWC stuff and had some stuff that some notes that you didn't get to add because you weren't in the call.
Am I back? Am I here?
You've been here the whole time, as far as I know.
Oh, I was frozen.
Oh. But so, do you have anything you want to add to the discussion from last week that you had to miss out on before we jump into roster rumors?
The discussion from last week.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's just the surprise that the pit put up. So as far as I knew beforehand, the pit was more of like a Twitter profile. The pit EU, they sent a team to EWC. They actually took out a couple pro teams. But basically, like, they surprised a lot of people sending their team. I mean, their team was very good, but from being not an org at all to sending a team and beating pro teams, like, their entire Twitter profile, from what I knew beforehand, was videos and reactions from majors of challengers teams, like, shit-talking each other and, like, standing up screaming at each other, and, like, really just kind of like a drama, but also like basically they would walk around the challengers pit and, like, film teams as they were winning and stuff like that. And so
that's why they're called the pit. That kind of makes sense.
That's why they're called the pit. Basically, like, their whole Twitter profile was strictly like videos of teams winning and standing up and yelling, just the passion in the pit. And then for them to get a team together with Linz, who was a CDL pro in MW3 in the beginning of BO6, but then ended up getting dropped from I think he was on Rocker still, or Minnesota G2, but ended up getting dropped in the BO6 season. But for him to go out there and definitely show out against pro teams, taking out I can't remember how many teams they did take out, but I know they definitely took out at least one, maybe two pro teams that are in the
I think
league.
it was about 2.
So that was very surprising, honestly, out of those guys.
You're struggling over there, Mike, huh?
I'm trying to figure out why my face is so red, because it hasn't been for the whole show. It's not that hot in here. Anyway, so yeah, I had no idea that I had asked about the teams.
Because I knew a couple teams did win, like, beat people. I just didn't know like the depth of it.
So that's cool. I love seeing fresh teams come out of nowhere that aren't established. I mean, Cloud9,
and
Cloud9 did that in League of Legends back in Season 2, where they were well-known challenger players, but there was like a very established core set of professional teams back then, and you could win your way into LCS. They had a promotion tournament to get an LCS spot back then, and Cloud9 won through that, got into LCS, and then their first season they went undefeated in their first split and won the split championship. So not only did they win into the LCS, but then they dominated the LCS and have been a mainstay team since that point.
Also, with the pit team, also they didn't qualify through champs because the team didn't exist before They qualified through the EWC LCQ, so they played
Wow.
a lot of
Like
established
a
teams
long ass
like
tournament.
Bush, a long
Yeah.
tournament, couple like multiple day tournament.
Probably
Like
Stallions.
yeah, Bush, Stallions, Huntsmen were in it because they couldn't compete in it. Yeah, just a long team, long standing of challengers teams that are well established. They came out of nowhere and won the LCQ and qualified for EWC. So
Damn.
So, as the guy that I know that is probably the most ingrained into top challengers right now, are there any teams that you think are like on the cusp that it might be worth keeping an eye out on just to see if they could make a big push like the pit did in another event? I don't know if they're still allowing challenger teams to qualify into bracket for against pro teams at opens. I don't know if that's
Pro-Ams.
still.
They have like 2 Pro-Ams a year they try to do.
yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I guess we'll see when the CDL like
Oh
officially
yeah, I
releases
guess.
their schedule for next year for MW4. But as of right now, like, I know, I know there's like orgs that I've personally never heard of. I don't know if they were, if they were like there back in the day, but like for fun esports, they had a Mac and some of the people that they used to play on Cloud9 and BO6 and have won like the Mac won Challengers champs with Omit last year.
Nice.
He
Yeah,
plays for For
Mac
Fun.
is a I think he's a COD champ too. I'm pretty sure he won
Yeah,
with New York.
and then no, that was Priesta, I think.
No. Yeah, I'm thinking of Priest though.
And then
I'm a dumbass.
what's it called? Bittersweet. Bittersweet's kind of coming out of nowhere, in my opinion. Like I've never heard of them before, and now like they're hosting like teams going to TPC lands, which is our like locals. TPC is like
Yeah. PPC is the well-known local
yeah,
for
they're like
most.
the local in recency, I think too, with like the kind of local scene dying in COD, where it's like anybody can host it. TPC kind of they run a season every year. Basically, they go to
Yeah.
like main cities and stuff like that. Like they went to Vegas
They
this
have
year,
Philly.
Philly, Vegas, their last event and their kickoff for next year. Their TPC champs and kickoff for next year is happening in Columbus.
Hmm. Hey Mike.
Yeah,
Uh huh.
in Vegas and all those big cities like that. So,
Wait, where did
but
you say? I was answering a chat
Columbus.
message. Columbus.
in Columbus,
Okay.
yeah, Columbus.
Columbus.
They're playing TPC champs
Their
on
kickoff
September
and
5th,
champs.
4th and 5th.
Oh, fine.
Is TPC champs in Columbus, and then or not 4th and 5th, 5th and 6th, and then they're doing a kickoff for MW4 in Columbus as well.
Cool. Yes,
But
we can look into that.
But Bittersweet, Bittersweet is a team. They have Tyler Felony on their team, who
Yeah, he's a
fellow.
pretty
true felony.
established in the league. Yeah, fellows and on that team. Some new kids like Nate Terminated, who's really really good. He's like 18, like freshly 18. He showed up and just started literally frying everybody. So
Wow.
a lot of
We can
young.
cut this out of the video, by the way, but I just wanted to say this. Hey, Mike, did you know that Kai actually like just talks to fellow?
No, that's cool.
But
Anyway.
what's it called? Yeah, basically like Tyler Fellow and Prada, I guess is his name, and like a group of young kids, and then he's kind of their vet for them, like kind of teaching them, like showing them the ropes, and really like getting these kids names out there. Really, to be honest
Who
with
is?
you, like Fellow.
Oh, damn it. He didn't do it. Every time you said his name, it was Tyler Fellow and Tyler Fellow and
Anyway. So
yeah,
is the rumor still that Optic is separating with Ender for this upcoming season?
Ender.
Holy
Kyler?
shit.
Hook? Isn't that his
Kyler.
name?
Hook.
Tyler.
Hook.
Ender was Illy.
Ender
Oh,
is
I knew
Illy,
that.
the
I knew
Yoda
that.
thing.
Yeah, the other one. I should have just used. I was trying to sound like I knew what I was talking about, and I should have just used his name.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I have stuff. So like Hydra, the two big things were Hydra to Optic for Hook, not happening. The other big thing was Simp to Gentlemates, not happening. Anyways,
I could have told you that Simp wasn't leaving FaZe. He makes too much money.
he might still leave. It's just Gentlemates isn't happening because I think Riyadh's a destination for him.
Yes. I mean, the Falcons, the Saudi money is literally everything.
Yeah, I think it was
Stallions making money
Riyadh
every year.
and oh, I don't remember the other team. There was one other team that was like rumored. Um,
So
I didn't like the Hydra to Optic move anyways because
Hex confirmed in one of his recent vlogs that they already signed Hook to another, I
okay,
think another year or 2 years. So Hook's
okay.
set to stay on Optic. They made it to every single grand finals this year. They went 2 for 6 in grand
yeah.
finals.
Well, and that's
Yeah,
my thing too is like Hydra being on Hydra going to Optic in place of Hook would have been the same thing as Hydra and a BZ teaming.
Mhm.
It doesn't work. You have two fast subs. Shotzi is the fast sub. Hook
I
is
think
the
the only
slower
thing
objective-based sub.
I think the only thing with that people were saying about Hydra going to Optic was the Optic struggles this year with S&D specifically, and Hydra's like a very good S&D player. So they were saying like yes, like Respawn would be the exact same, but Hydra would bring the S&D like edge to their team, I guess. But I mean, I don't. There's always talks, but I don't think that that was ever going to go anywhere. I mean, they made it to literally every single grand finals this year, even though they only won 2 of them. I mean, to go to every single one is like insane. They
I
literally like if you look at those majors, besides I think Major 2 and besides Champs, which are unfortunately both the phase, they were literally one probably like 1 to 2 kills away from winning this. Every single one of those. Came down to like one moment that they could have won and it just didn't go their way.
You don't think the same argument for just absolute results from this season can be made about FaZe and the fact that they wouldn't make a roster change? Because you guys seem really open to the idea of the highest paid, probably, player in the CDL leaving the team that he's been on his entire career, and I just don't see simply.
He's not even close to the highest paid.
There's no.
Celium's highest paid. Celium makes 850,000 a year.
Because of that Saudi Falcons money.
Yeah. And
That's
Simp makes
crazy.
what, like 500,000, 400?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I guess
Everyone
then
on FaZe makes
it
around
comes
3 to
down
4.
to like cash versus results. Do you think that
And
he's
also-
enough to?
I like my thing is he just won champs. He proved he can win champs without Busy and Celium. Why would he go to play with Celium?
I mean, to me, it's a
Because-
matter of what team is going to give you the best odds to win. Do you think that Atlanta team is trying to build Vegas team is trying to build a super team that?
I feel like they're already pretty. I mean, they were top 3 at almost every major. They won major 2 and they won champs.
No, not FaZe. I'm
personally-
talking about the Falcons team.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The one that has all the money they're
Falcons
throwing
team?
around. Are they trying to put together this champs winning super team that
I
would
think
get
they
results?
are. I think they are. I mean, they are pretty established in a lot of other esports, and I think COD is like one of those. I mean, they were the worst team in Black Ops 6. This year they
And they
had
got
their ups and
3rd in
downs.
champs.
They got their 3rd at champs this year, and all they did was switch Pred out and bring a Luca in, and that's like one player.
Yeah,
so I
which is
think the
also
way
crazy to me because everyone was like, Luka's not good. He just had one series where a lot of clips came out and he got really good PR. But clearly, he's pretty good if they added him and they magically get 3rd at champs.
I guess my next question then is, if Simp doesn't go, is there enough talent left in the league without Optic changing and without FaZe changing to still build a champ contending team with the players you have left if you had just the pick of the
100%.
litter?
Absolutely. There's
Is it-
so many
Scraps
challengers
contract-
players
Scraps
even.
Challengers players and Scraps contracts up with 100 Thieves this year. Hydra's contracts up with 100 Thieves this year.
So
that's 2 heavy hitters right there that they could pick up Scrap and Hydra for Saudi money. We could be looking.
Find the. I was try and look up the what's it called? Oh God, you keep talking. I'm looking up free agents.
If you don't touch Optic, you don't touch FaZe, and you're going to build the best roster that you can with money being no object from the rest of the players available, what team are you looking at, assuming that you can't have those players? I mean, obviously they've got. You said Celium is the highest paid player in the league. They're going to build around Cell, but who do you put as the other 3 people on that roster? Are they completely building a roster from scratch?
I think they're keeping a Luca on that team. I think the AR of Celium and Aluka are probably going to stay just because of the results they got with Aluka on the team. Honestly, from that, then like you're looking for another sub. You're looking for potentially 2 subs. I don't know. I know the. I know. I mean, I'm not 100% sure if this is what they were doing, but I know for the longest time, um, they were trying to
Oh,
build also a team around X.N.E.W, him being the only Saudi player on that team.
so obviously the
He was,
like challenger teams that disbanded. There's Renegade as a free agent, Renegade. Yuli, Brack, Big Wake. They're all free agents.
the one player I do want to see, which I did want to talk about, and we kind of slipped away from talking about it, was Ethan. He played for N.E.W.S, which is Omit's EU team. He came from playing Rocket League. He was a Rocket League like challengers player. He came into the league. This was his rookie year this year. I think he came in. I could be mistaken. I think he might have been in the whole year, but I think the Omit team built around maybe major 2 or 3 this year. I'm not 100% sure on that. But he came in as a Rocket League player and he won Challengers Champs this year and is like probably arguably one of the best Challengers players in like the Challengers League right now. And he's like brand new.
That's
Yeah.
crazy to me because I feel like out of all the esports you could transfer from, Rocket League probably has the least amount of actual relevant in-game knowledge that would apply to something like Call of Duty. I mean,
Right.
you obviously coming from another esport, you already have a built-up way that you practice and you understand how you need to look at improving. So I think coming from another esport in general, you're going to have a leg up on just your average challenger player. But there are so many other esports that you actually have at least a little bit of relevant skill to bring over. And knowing the little bit I know about Rocket League esports, there's just like they use the word rotation. I guess technically one singular word carries over.
I can tell you from experience. I don't know how obviously like top Rocket League competitive or top like Rocket League, I guess challengers is what I'll call it, is like, but we had Rocket League competing at the Air Force gaming stuff I went to. And I swear I don't think they said a word to each other. Besides like I got it, and then like if they would score, they would say nice. Like
Yeah.
I didn't hear them talking. I didn't like obviously like this is this is like lowest of low tier compared to like top Rocket League challengers and pro Rocket League players. Like I don't know how much they actually talk to each other, but to me, like seeing that was like they don't even talk.
Okay, I have a list of free agents, by the way. So Vivid's a free agent, Geo's a free agent, Mac's a free agent. Looks like Asim's a free agent. Big Arcities.
He still competes.
When did Swooty? Yeah.
Yes. Swooty's a free agent.
No, yeah, Swooty. It says he got signed to Riyadh.
Does it?
Yeah. Or yeah.
Oop.
Oh, but it says he got signed to Falcons Academy. That's what it is. He's Falcons
so that's
Academy.
what he is. Yeah, he's still challengers then.
I saw the Falcons logo is so similar to the Riyadh Falcons logo, and I got so confused.
I was like, wait,
But yeah,
that's
That's about it. And then everything else is like Major Maniac coach is a free agent. Rainbow Ray is a free agent.
That's actually something I wanted to ask about. Is obviously the league's opinion on coaches seems to flip every season because they like coaches and then they hate coaches and they like coaches and they hate coaches. Are coaches a thing right now? And if so, who is
very big
being
thing
utilized right now?
Like Optic has Karma, JP Krez, who else? They have more. They have another one that was just like specifically for S&D. Or no, I'm thinking of FaZe. FaZe has like 8 coaches. They have an S&D coach.
I mean, these motherfuckers are reading books. Like it's
chalk.
It's chalk. They have a reading teacher. Like
who is writing books on S&D so that we can read the books on S&D?
I don't know, but
I can do that. I can write a book on S&D theory for sure. I can do it.
Hold on, let me look at FaZe Vegas coaching staff.
I know Optic's coach is just JP, Krez, and Karma, and they are very like from the stuff that like the players come out and say, which obviously like I'm not in these talks with them. I don't
Right.
know any of these players, like know them. I know of them obviously, but I don't know them.
Yeah.
But from what the players say, like Karma is very more intricate in like the player way. Like if like you, I mean, we have all played at this
Okay,
point, all of us, which is weird.
isn't correct at all. This isn't correct at all. It says they have Crowder and RJ. That's it.
Hold on, I wanna hear this thought. Keep going with how Karma coaches versus like
So
you.
Karma coach, the way Karma coaches is, I mean, we've all been players,
Mhm.
all of us, which is weird to say now because you guys were like teaching me how to play, and now we've all actually played. So this is weird, but
We get it. We're old.
Yeah.
as all of us has been players, like we know like the weird things that go on in game. Like there's just things that happen in game that is more like
There's
it's
not
more
really an
in-game knowledge.
explanation, but it
There's not an
happens.
explanation. It happens, right? From what I've heard from like the videos that Optic members have said was Karma is very like strong in like the more game aspect. Like he understands what's going on, where JP Krez is more in like the analytical. Like, hey, this is what teams like
They
to
like
do
to
more.
do.
This is what they like to do. This is how they like to play. This is what.
If they're in this position, this is
Yeah.
what they're going to do versus this position.
Mm-hmm.
So
And
you
where
have
Karma's more like, hey, like here's how you gotta block this, or not necessarily block this. I mean, they're pros, but like example, like if you're missing this guy, he's probably on a pinch here, just because that's the way that like Karma coaches more on the way the map flows, rather than JP coaches on like consistencies of players and inconsistencies and like what
Yeah.
a player likes to do, what their hotspots are, where they like to sit in S&D,
The
what
stuff
like their
that a
setups.
player isn't thinking about.
well, I
Yeah.
think it sounds more like you have a fundamentals coach and then a meta coach. Meta not in the sense of like what guns are
gun's
strong,
good.
but meta in the sense of how other teams are playing the game. And I think that that's a really strong thing to have. I mean, even if you look to like real world examples, you used to have scouts that go out to other NFL teams and watch what type of like plays they're running
Yeah.
and what they like to do in what situations. That is
And then a lot of coaches are also former players.
yeah. So I think that it's a really, really smart idea to have a more your game coach and your opponent's game coach and have a
Yep.
kind of a line there so that
And that's why sorry,
no, you're
but
good.
that's why also if you watch like if you've watched any of the majors when they, or if you like you haven't been to any this year, if you plan on going next year or whatever, if you watch any of the majors, when Optic plays, regardless win or lose, when they win or lose a map, when the coaches come back up onto the stage, Karma is the first person to grab the microphone and talk to the players about what happened, like how this happened. You guys didn't do this, or you guys did this really well, blah blah blah. And then he hands the mic over to JP before they start the next map, and it's, hey, this is what these players are going to do next. Like this, think about if you see this, they're probably in this setup and stuff like that. They have like a very specific flow about them. That's also why at EWC last year and this year, when they have the coaches on the stages, that's why Karma's up on the stage with them, because he understands the game flow, how it is, like what's
I
going
forgot
actually
the
going
coaches
on
are
on
up
the
on
map.
the stage with them at EWC.
Yep,
So-
what's actually going on during the game and stuff like that.
I'm gonna make a prediction. I think we are moving into a direction where you're gonna have AR coaches and sub coaches as well. I think that they're going to take
Like position coaches.
yeah, they're
basically.
going. I think we're going to start in the direction of position coaches, who are going to, kind of. You're probably going to have a Karma style your game position coach, and then a JP style what the other team is doing position coach, because I think that we're moving in a direction where your 1v1s as far as what you're doing versus what your counterpart on the other team is doing is going to become a little bit more important. Because
especially with how slow the next game is going to be compared to the past two games.
well, we are getting into a version of the CDL from the outside looking in where individual skill is getting so good that it's almost kind of like soccer/football, where you're gonna, or even probably basketball makes more sense in this analogy, where you're going to have to stick to your man and you're going to have like a matchup on the other team obviously COD is more complicated than that. It is faster paced than that. You're not always going to be making the same calls you're not going to be running into the same one person out of 4 people on their team over and over again. I'm not insinuating that,
I
but
just,
Fighting for those
I-
specific positions.
I don't know. I don't know though. I agree, but I also don't agree coming from somebody that like plays a lot more currently too. There isn't really roles as much nowadays as there was.
Which I
in
was
the
gonna add that into is there. Yeah, there. I
like
get what you're saying, Kai.
in
There
older
isn't
CODs.
roles in the sense of you have to fill in where you are, but at the
Yeah.
same time, in older CODs, you still had to fill in where you are. It's just it was a lot slower paced,
I
and
don't,
so it was a lot.
and I agree, and I'm thinking about this less from a gameplay standpoint and more from an infrastructure standpoint. That
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty is starting to take coaching more seriously, and I think that we've seen that over the last 2 or 3 years, which is how you can get teams that have multiple coaches and coaches who are giving themselves roles. And I think that in order for teams to continue to expand their coaching roster to keep from being redundant, I don't think it's going to come from an in-game necessity standpoint. I think it's going to come from the teams wanting to create more support for their players, and I think that you're going to end up getting pushed in that direction, not from a gameplay necessity standpoint, in this fact that you have your role as a player and we're going to teach you how to do your role better, but from a fact of play these lower tier CDL teams who have more money. If you didn't have the Falcons being as successful as they are right now, they're going to start looking for how can we solve this problem on the back end as well as solving it on the map, and that's going to be the direction they try and go with it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Which for a lot of teams, unfortunately, is also just, oh, all right, we can't figure out how to make our team good. Who wants to buy our spot?
Yeah. So if you're Optic right now and you're like, I want to expand my coaching roster beyond what it is in this moment, but we already have Karma who is doing in-game playstyle changes and hey, this is where we're moving around the map wrong, and then you have JP who is saying hey, this is what your opponents are doing. Where do you go from a coaching staff standpoint if it's not trying to find coaches to help at the individual level,
I feel like it's going to be more like what I feel like they already do, but I can't seem to figure out. Like, I can't find any of the coaches' names, which is really weird. Like, back in the Cold War days or stuff when FaZe brought on Tupac for S&D coach, specific S&D coach. Or, stuff like having a coach designated for a specific, like S&D is such a in-depth mode that you need someone that knows just the ins and outs of S&D and has the smarts of what plays to come up with, what defenses to come up with, setups, all sorts of stuff. And so I feel like I feel like it's already a thing, and I know it has been a thing, but I'm not finding any S&D coaches currently.
No, I think they kind of. I don't know. I think
Moved
they kind
away.
of are like moving away from like necessarily kind of like how I was like on the thought of like roles and players are kind of moving away. I think they're kind of moving away from roles and coaches of like, hey, I know hardpoint really good, so I can teach you guys hardpoint, or like I'm a very good S&D coach, like I can teach you guys S&D. Like I think they're getting their coaches are more like well rounded, and I think a lot of teams are kind of following an optics path of coaching the way that
A
with
former
like
player
a
coach and then
former player and one
an
an analytic,
analyst.
yeah, because I know the Falcons like I'm pretty sure they have more than one coach, but I know their player coach is Clayster.
Clayster. Yeah. They have
So
Clayster. Oh, they do. They have Clayster and oh God, what's his name?
You guys are going to have to keep doing this without me for a second. I was really trying to make it through the news, but I've got to go to the bathroom and pee myself. So
Okay.
give me just a second.
okay,
I don't know if I spelled that right.
Riyadh Falcons.
Oh, I did not spell it right. The D is after, or the H is after the D for some reason.
Weird Saudi letters.
The Riyadh Falcons, it's Clay and Mutab.
Yeah. So Mutab's probably their analytical guy, I'm assuming.
I'm
Never really,
assuming.
but yeah,
Well,
Clay
and then we'll
Starks.
go to like, and then FaZe is Crowder, who
Mhm,
replays.
mhm.
And then RJ, who never played, and then let's look at like let's just look at like let's look at Cloud9 because that is a poverty franchise.
Cloud9, I know in Black Ops 6 had their analytical coach. I don't know who it was, but then they had accuracy as the
Arian,
like.
it's Arian Chistaz Desgirdi and Adam Eckel.
Don't know who
They
those
have a
guys
head
are.
coach and a team manager.
Yep, I don't know. Those guys are in shambles over there.
I'm just curious now, like, oh, LA Thieves.
Troy Sender and
Oh yeah, it's Sender. I forgot. I thought no, because isn't he a free agent now?
he might. I don't know if he is. I know he was this year though. He was still there on their roster this year.
Shane and Sender. Yeah, Shane
Yeah.
and Sender. Did
Mhm.
Sender play?
Yeah, he did. He played in IW and I think
That's right, yeah.
AW.
Yeah, we're looking, and it's no wonder that Cloud9 is one of the worst teams in the league, Mike, because Cloud9 is the only one with a head coach who I've never heard of, Arian, and then a and then a team manager, and that's it.
Look, it's because they just spent all that money on Loki. Okay.
And
And
then
selling him.
one other thing, I guess, to bring up on this roster mania topic is Boston Breach sold their spot in the
Ooh,
league.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, so
that
Boston
hurts.
Breach. Well, I don't know if it's confirmed yet, but there's talks, and it's. I mean, it's been kind of leaked by like a lot of like the
Uh,
leaked accounts.
M80
Intel.
or
Yeah,
M80 and for Fun Esports are emerging as primary
yeah.
frontrunners, and M80 is really well known in
M80 is well
R6.
known in R6 and like Val.
Yeah,
So they're established in multiple esports, which
and
is
for
good
Fun is
for.
popular in challengers this year. They
Yep,
did really well.
yep. And so M80 is very well known in multiple esports, which I believe personally is good for the COD scene because you're going to have a team that wants to win in something. They've won in other
Mhm.
titles. So coming into COD, like they kind of know how to like run.
Yeah. Well, and especially because Boston was owned by Oxygen Esports and then the
Mhm,
Craft Sports and Entertainment. I
mhm.
don't believe Oxygen Esports has very many teams left in esports in general.
Yeah. And so M80
Esports.
coming in, a org that's won in other titles, coming into COD, they know how to run. They know how to win specifically too. I'm sure they're gonna put together a good staff for Call of Duty, and hopefully, it turns out to be a good thing for the COD scene. Because
Yeah.
honestly, the
Okay, I
COD
guess
scene needs
Oxygen
it right
still
now.
has Apex, Hearthstone, Magic, Valorant, Rocket League, R6,
It's crazy
Overwatch.
to me that Magic the Gathering gets added into the list of esports. Like that
Yeah.
goes up there with chess for me as things that don't sound right to my
Pokemon.
brain, but here we are. Hey, Pokemon makes
That's
sense.
literally
I'm cool with Pokemon. I'm
yeah.
a huge Wolf Glick fan. He can go win all the tournaments he wants to.
Yeah, but M80 coming in is a big thing for the COD scene. I've
Yeah, that would
known
be
because
huge.
it's gonna be. They're gonna come in. They're gonna definitely want to win for sure. I don't know what, because the franchising in the CDL. I don't know what city they're gonna represent. If they're gonna be Boston M80 or
I
something like that. But
hate
For
franchising.
reference, don't try and just look up M80 because you'll find the firework.
Oh. Yeah, that's okay.
but
I tried to search that ALAG earlier, and it was really confusing.
AGAL or
Yeah, that's what
whatever.
I meant. AGAL. Thank you.
Yeah, M80. They actually just won. Oh, what is this? Val, I think. Stage 2 Val, they won.
I think they just won something in R6 this year too.
Is there a Team Liquid Call of Duty team yet?
Negative.
I would
DreamHack
love.
Atlanta.
I would love
I
to
think.
see Liquid enter Call of Duty.
Yeah, I just think like
Wait, hold on. I think Liquid does. Who does Team Liquid own in CDL?
I don't think they do. I
No,
might be
they
wrong.
don't. Okay, they don't. I
It was
thought they did.
Luminosity owned.
Luminosity owns Seattle
They own
Surge.
Surge. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I
That's
was
it.
thinking of.
I think we used to have a CLG team too, didn't we? Way back in the day before CLG fell apart, didn't we have a
Counter
CLG
Logic
team?
Gaming?
Yeah. This would have been old school, by the way. This would have been Ghosts, like
Holy.
Oh
AW.
yeah, CLG had a Call of Duty team back before franchising for sure.
Yeah.
I know that for 100%.
I meant like back in the
But
day.
there's also with franchising, you also get into that conversation of the contract ends, and after this year is the second to last year. MW4 is the second to last year of the contract with the CDL and Activision.
Mhm.
So after this year, or after next year, if they don't re-sign, that's a whole like what's going to happen with Call of Duty Esports.
Yeah. I don't think it goes away.
I mean,
I don't think it goes away. It's too big to go away.
I don't think the big names in Call of Duty esports are gonna let it. Like, there's no way. They
It's
might
too
go
big of an
away from
esport to die.
franchising.
Like Gears
Yeah.
died because it wasn't a big esport. Halo died because the game didn't have any. They weren't like doing
They
anything
played the
with the
same
game.
game for 7 years.
Yeah. And then the Infinite came out and they didn't do anything with that either. Like
well, Infinite brought it back for a little bit. It was very
it was
brief.
2 years,
but
Mike.
That's
How-
what I meant. But
I mean,
they
how
played
long
the
do
same
you-
game for
how long do you play a Call of Duty game?
1 year.
Yeah.
a whole year.
Exactly. Because they make a
Um,
new one every year.
I would love to see franchising go away. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think we need a weekly league. The LCS to me is a standout of. It is a happy accident and an anomaly, and I don't think that the LCS is the format that every esport should follow. I think as a viewer, as a prospective competitor, I am so much more a fan of the way Super Smash Bros. Is run, and
Open bracket style, like
yeah, and like even Pokemon. You know, we just laughed about Pokemon, but I follow Pokemon esports. I do, and I think that having a major regional tournament once a month or once every 6 weeks to give out points to qualify for a world championship is the best format esports can take. I think that esports, the thing that we have over conventional sports is accessibility and the fact that anybody can pick up a controller or a mouse and
Anybody can do
keyboard
it.
and sit down and compete. And I think that we need, for esports to succeed, we need to keep that accessibility. And I think that locking the highest level of competition behind leagues and qualifiers and play
Paywalls.
1 or 2 matches a week is doing nothing but hurting esports as a market right now.
and that also goes into the longevity of players. Players back in the MLG days, they were going to one tournament a month, one tournament every couple months, and so players could play a lot longer. They weren't they weren't playing in weekly matches, grinding like, yeah, they were grinding every day, but it wasn't near as excruciating as it is now.
I think that
I was
players.
gonna ask how did it work back in the day? Because I'm not. I mean, I only know like CDL era, so
Yeah,
I
so
don't know how like it worked with less. Like, were they less tournaments, or was it like not necessarily? It wasn't that there was weekly matches, but there was more frequent major events or tournaments that happened. So there was more lands, but less like matches, I guess.
Yeah, so MLG back in the day held what we would now attribute to like the CDL majors, but it wouldn't just be COD. It would be more like what you just did with the Air Force, where they would have multiple games competing at the same time. You'd have a stage for Halo, you'd have a stage for Call of Duty, you'd have a stage
That's where
for
the pit was birthed.
Yeah, you'd have a stage for Super Smash Bros. Used to be at MLGs back in 2009, 2010.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you would have a major
Shut up.
about once a month or every 6 weeks, but the Worlds back then was still held by the developer of the game. So like back when we had the first one ever was COD XP from Modern Warfare 2, and then you would have these MLG through the year to kind of give players, really what it was give players a chance to make enough money to continue on to the next event. because they weren't getting constant supplemental income. That was before teams were paying
They
salaries.
weren't contracted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, every week MLG held an online tournament that first place was $2,000. And so every single weekend you'd have all these teams playing an online tourney that was just, I think, it was either Saturday and Sunday or it was just Sundays. I think for some reason I feel like it was just Sundays, where to try and get 2K to split amongst themselves. And then I think Champs was
Saturday
invited.
and Sunday.
I don't remember. It was only like 100 and something teams. Even then, it was probably not even that many. I honestly don't remember if Champs was invite only or if it was a qualifier. There might have had Champs qualifiers, like a small online tournament that they did 2 or 3 times throughout the year to qualify for Champs. But these MLG events would pay out $100,000, $200,000 to top 8. Not like every team in top 8, but they would split that money amongst the top 8 teams. But it was open bracket all the way through until we got into like AW, BO3, IW,
Infinite
which is
Warfare.
where there were partnered teams. So partnered teams would automatically qualify for group stage, and then open bracket, the top 4 teams in open bracket would each get seeded into a group, and they would get to play the group stage with the pro teams, and then from the group stage you would go into championship bracket. And that was like
that's the best format.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that was the best format too, because you had a group of teams
week long at that point. Like weren't tournaments like week long?
No, it was just a weekend.
It was still like it'd just be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah.
Friday would be like the bracket play to get into pool play.
And then you would have the first like 2 games of pools, and then you would finish out the challenger bracket on Saturday and play the rest of pools, and that would be the conclusion of pool play, and then Sunday would be just championship bracket.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. But to me,
that's how the pit got that and the original all the esports being in one group. That was where the pit was formed. The name the pit, because it was literally you had Halo, CoD, all these esports literally in one giant pit, just sweating their asses off, literally.
Yeah. Back in the day, you would have teams that were playing Halo and Call of Duty in the same weekend.
Yeah. Like Ogre 1 and Ogre 2, I'm pretty sure, didn't they do both?
Yeah, they a lot of the whole team would go do both. They would play both games, and they would just split their time, and then obviously they would start to practice one more than the other and kind of find their groove. But like Crimsix was a Halo player back in the day.
Damn, so you could get if you were trash, you could get double first rounded out of 2 games.
Yeah, you sure could.
That's when you get done with the day and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And then
quadruple first rounded, you're like,
I'm a glutton for punishment.
Rounded.
I would walk over to Melee and I'd get double first rounded from there too.
Sextuple first rounded.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, Jesus, dude.
Easiest way to waste $1,000 in my life.
Yeah, I've been there. For sure.
But
I was gonna say we've kind of gotten to a point where we could start to wrap up this episode if you wanted to.
I don't know. I'm really enjoying talking about the way that things used to be. I know. My last point then will be, I do think that the CWL era, where you had a group of partnered teams that got automatically put into pool play, but then you had an open bracket for every single LAN that you could qualify through open bracket to go into pool play and be on the same level, same playing field as the partner teams, is the best way to do it. I don't think that the league format where you're keeping a wall between the up and coming amateur team. Yeah. Back in the day, there were. There were 12 teams. You're right. I had to do the math for a second, but yeah, that's right.
I mean,
you did 4 groups.
There's 12 teams total in the league. There's 4 players per team.
Yeah.
So that's you're locking the league. You're locking the talent to 48
plus
players.
Plus 1 or 2 subs each, so max 60 players.
You're locking.
But I was gonna say, with what Mike was saying, That's how the CWL era is. How we had literally Optic going through open bracket to make pool play, to then make it to the championship run, to then make it to Sunday, and like.
Yeah. I mean,
I mean,
if you go play a Melee tournament now, there are the biggest Super Smash Brothers tournaments that exist right now, the big ones, like Supernova that was last week. Supernova generally every year sets the record for the most players at a Super Smash Brothers tournament. You have 1,300 people in attendance. That's 1,300 points on a bracket that have to get played. So they do pools for that, and their pools are like 30 people. But you'll only play like 4 or 5 matches in your pool, and then the best records for the pools come out, and then they do a bracket after that of 128, sometimes 256. So you have Super Smash Brothers players. If you're winning a Super Smash Brothers tournament, you're winning 6 games in pool play, and then 256, 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4 grand finals. You're playing 8 games in bracket after you play your 6 games
total
of
games.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you then.
Okay.
If we're talking about how like the CWL, I guess how it used to be like you would play pools in the bracket, but obviously like the way I think Call of Duty's going right now with just like the fan base how it is now, at least the loyal fan base, like myself, I've only ever had it to where there's weekends. Every weekend I have something to watch in Call of Duty. And if now like you're telling me like only like every month you're going to have one weekend every month of like stuff that you're going to be able to watch. I would probably be like, I'm not saying I would get like be upset because it would be fun to like see more matches, right? Every like month to see like, or not matches, to see more lands like every month, like, oh, there's a land. But if you want to like kind of take, I guess the best, I know how like the pros don't really like the online matches, but say like the pros do online matches, right? And then every team makes it into the major bracket, and then out of that major bracket, like the bottom 2 or bottom 4 teams start in losers, and then they wait for the top 6 teams to not top 6, top 8 teams to drop down, I guess. Could you do it? You would have to probably have to start the tournaments a little bit earlier, but could you make it to maybe where the bottom 4 teams or whatever, right? Those bottom 4 teams, they start the challengers bracket maybe like a couple days earlier. And if those bottom 4 teams out of the pro scene, like they lose to challengers players, like we have seen, those challengers teams have a chance to make it into
like the top 4 challenge, the top 4 finish of that at that challengers event would then go to be the bottom 4 at the event. I mean that's basically the same thing.
That's so
because it's very similar to how Apex is doing the ALGS right now, where there's tier 1 and tier 2. Tier 1 is all the pro teams, but tier 2, if you do well enough in tier 2, you earn a tier 1 license basically, and you can compete with the tier 1 tournaments and whatnot.
I also want to clarify, because you were talking about how if they moved away from the CDL, like the actual league itself, and into being entirely tournament based, that you would lose stuff to watch on the weekends. So, in my opinion, you actually have it worse off than what we did back then because of 2Ks. So these were big tournaments that weren't streamed by game battles. So typically back in the day, especially in my opinion, the peak of being a Call of Duty viewer was Call of Duty Ghosts. And that's because Ghosts was the last title they did 2Ks, but it was after all the social media stuff had started. So you had a team of, for example, you had Scump, Nadeshot, Proofy, Clayster was the Optic team during Ghosts for most of it, till they, right before Champs, they agreed after Champs to bring on Krim and Karma, and they dropped Clay and Proofy, but still had to play the last tournament of the year with Clay and Proofy. But anyway, you had these 4 guys.
That's sorry.
Who were all big personalities on Optic, which has been the whole time the biggest team, and every single one was streaming their POV. So you could flip through and actually watch from the player's perspective and get a better idea of the players' personalities, in my opinion, built up in your head because you were watching them play 8, 9, 10 matches in a row that had stakes. There was actual money on the line, and like I said back then, they weren't. I mean, Optic was probably getting a salary, but it wouldn't surprise me if they were the only team in Call of Duty in Ghosts that were getting paid a salary, and it wasn't very much. And they were.
Yeah, it'd be like maybe 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
if that.
Wasn't EG getting him?
Evil
EG
Geniuses?
may have,
Yeah.
because they were the best team in the league back then. They were
'Cause I thought-
the team to beat. They may
But
have
I
been
also
getting.
thought
say that
there
would
was-
be the only other team, maybe.
I also thought there was something. I remember seeing something about how, because that's when wasn't Crimp6 on EG back then.
Yep. So that
Before he
team
joined
was.
Optic?
Yeah,
I
that's,
thought that was like a thing. Weren't they? They weren't allowed to stream like on. There was like a big like thing where they weren't allowed to stream on. Like they had sponsors to a streaming site, but whatever like tournament or league that was they were in or
MLG.
whatever.
yeah, MLG
wasn't
as a
allowing them
whole.
to stream on that.
Yeah, MLG as a whole forced all of their matches that were played on an MLG tournament to be streamed to MLG. So actually, I didn't remember that until you said that. But yeah, back in the day, Nadeshot and Scump were forced to stream on
Yeah.
MLG, and it wasn't until MLG dissolved and the CWL started, CDL, whatever, that they were opened up to streaming on Twitch. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
EG, formerly known EG, they weren't EG the whole time. They were Complexity first, and they rebranded as EG halfway through the year. But yeah, they were strong enough of a team that they probably were getting were getting salaried. They were also the first team in Call of Duty ever to really have a coach. But nowadays you are so removed, in my opinion, from a lot of the personalities of these players. And if you had to sit down and start at 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, if this is right, and it was a 2-day event, and just watch them play matches against high-level teams, and there were upsets, and it was always every weekend was, is there going to be a team that beats Complexity/EG this week, or are we going to just see EG win another 2K? And then that transferred into, that would build up drama because people were shooting bodies and running their mouths because it's COD, and then suddenly they have to play on LAN, and there was just, it opened up the door to so many more storylines and so much more COD to watch, in my opinion, because everything was streamed from the individual POV.
What I think fills that now though is just like, and like thanks to thank goodness for it, because it wasn't so much last year than more so this year, and I hope it stays for next year. But like with Bush coming in and Huntsman coming in, like there was so much more Challenger stuff to watch. Because before that, it was really just the Stallions, and it was Zuma, and it was kind of like, it was definitely taken serious, but it was also kind of for content, like more content purposes for them. But it was also still taken serious from them. But with like the Bush coming in and like Huntsman coming in and stuff like that, there was so much more to watch in the Challenger scene this year that like the whole week you would have something.
Yeah.
Like it's like, okay, CDL ends, cool. Now we got a week. It's gonna be Challenger scrims into the Elite or into the Cup this weekend, and now that's the Cup. Is this team's gonna be playing like?
So the best way I can describe it then is back then the whole pro scene felt like what the challengers are giving you now.
Mm-hmm.
That was, you had that same kind of thing where they would stream pro scrims and you could watch Optic scrim, and they would keep up with map counts and stuff, and there would be I was really, really big on the Optic subreddit back then, and there would be posts on the Optic subreddit talking about what the scrims were and what the scores were, and you were trying to get a feel of how the team was going to look on the weekend. And then where you're talking about the Challenger Cup and all these other smaller things, that was our 2Ks and online tournaments and these other, because there were other people, just like now how you have EWC hosting tournaments, mm-hmm. and MSI I think is the other people that do COD tournaments once a year, right? Is it MSI or is it somebody else? Anybody?
I think it's just CDL.
Well, no, because EWC is not affiliated with CDL, and then there was a second tournament. The
EWC
other tournament
is the
other tournament that Optic won.
That was the kick. That was the kickoff. That was the Optic kickoff.
Oh,
sponsored by Monster Energy.
Oh, the Monster one? That was ran by CDL.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
But
And then, but I mean, I know Zuma and
And then the
Kason.
phase one, yeah,
Zuma
Suma and
runs the
Kason,
flank,
the Kason 75K or whatever it was.
and then the Zuma runs the flank invitational every year, and he invites pretty much every single pro team and like top challengers team to go
I
play.
forgot
and then,
to. Kason is a minority owner of FaZe. I forgot about that.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yep, Kason himself is a minority owner. That's why he's so invested in FaZe Vegas, and why he was on stage when they won champs.
But
But yeah, I mean,
I think that getting rid of a weekly league can be a healthy thing for Call of Duty esports and not necessarily a negative thing.
I think it would be. You all, because also you younger generation need a detox.
from what,
Seen all this goddamn Call of Duty, you're getting too good for me.
No, I mean, consuming Call of Duty content is great, and there will still be Call of Duty to consume.
Yeah.
I just think that there are better ways. There
If anything, there
are
would be
ways that
more
would be
like
better
fun
for
tournaments
us
to watch
Yeah.
and stuff.
Like, you know how TST, I don't know if they still do, but back in the day, in between COD games, when we were getting ready for a new drop, TST would do all these like
They'd have their
throwback tournaments.
Their throwback, yep.
Yeah. The whole season was like that back then.
Yeah.
But I think we are running a little bit over on time for the news. We ran about
well over.
30 minutes later than I wanted to, but I was really happy with, I think there was a good discussion.
episode.
Yeah. We didn't get derailed quite so hard this time, but we're gonna go. Kai, thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Diz, thank you for joining me once again.
Obviously, anytime when we have more Call of Duty stuff to talk about, you're more than welcome to come on. Obviously, because with you being our resident AM player,
So I will say,
kinda.
the way I would like this to go is I want to build obviously you and I, Diz, are the main hosts, but I would like to build like a circle around us of people who are more knowledgeable on individual titles, so that when we have important weeks for those titles, we have people that come on, since we can't be everywhere all the time all at once. People that can come in and fill the gaps in our knowledge a little bit. Exactly. And if we get to that point, maybe we can have those people come on and do segments every week, and just some people will get extended segments and some people will have shorter segments. So but that does it. Talking COD is fun. That is going to do it for the news for this week. So thanks everybody for watching. What's up?
It changed.
Cool.
Why'd you say it like that? Cool.
Yeah.